What's up, you guys? Welcome back into iHeartRadio's official wrestling podcast, the Battleground Podcast. And it is an exciting time here this week on the show. Of course, TNA Wrestling has their first live event of 2025, Genesis, this Sunday, live on pay-per-view. And today we have a guest on the show that has shocked the world with her return to TNA. Make some noise for Tessa Blanchard joining the show. Tessa, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Battle. Thank you for having me on. It's an honor to be here.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on the show. So let's kind of just address the elephant in the room. You recently returned to TNA after several years. What motivated the comeback, and what are some of the biggest differences brand-wise you've noticed since your last tenure with the company to now?
Well, first of all, it's a completely different company from when I was with Impact. Like I said, I've only been here a short while. I'm not officially signed right now, but looking forward to Genesis this weekend out here in Dallas. I think it's going to be something special. I think like what motivated the return was I'm living out in Mexico City now. I've been working with CMLL Wrestling the past year and looking at some of my life goals, looking at the direction that I want my life to go in. I'm back in college now. I went and joined Army ROTC for 3 years, and looking at the direction and my goals in the foreseeable future, it just made the most sense to come back to the United States and chase those dreams, I guess you could say, for another time. And watching what Jordynne Grace has been doing, has been a big motivator as well, because if I would have stayed around the company, if I would have stayed in Impact Wrestling, I don't believe that Jordynne Grace would have had all the successes that she's had. I don't believe that she would have became the name that she became. And so me coming back to TNA, me coming and making a statement and her being that statement, I think that was one of my big motivators.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, when you think about it, you come back to TNA, you don't want to just start at the bottom. You want to go for, you know, the big dog per se and the group. And of course, that big dog in the Knockouts division is Jordynne Grace. And at Final Resolution, you attacked her. Why do you think now was the time to seize this opportunity to take her out?
Now is as good of a time as any. She's what everyone's talking about. Jordynne's on the mouth of everyone. What's Jordynne going to do next? Look at this awesome match that she had with Masha Slamovich. Look at this match that she had. And I'm like, well, Jordynne, before you, that was me. Before you, I was it. I'm the only female to win the World Heavyweight Championship. I was on the mouths of everyone. I was the fastest rising talent. And I think it was time to come back and show who really is it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to find out who is it this Sunday live on pay-per-view Genesis. Grab it, pay-per-view, everywhere you subscribe it to, go watch it, buy it. You're going to love it. So, you know, one thing that you've been very open about in previous interviews, talking about depression and mental health and anxiety. How is your mental health currently? Because that's a big thing that we're all about. We're advocates for that. How are you feeling currently, and how have, experiences shaped you both personally and professionally?
Right now I'm in a really good place. I'm very proud of the woman that I am, the woman that I've become. It's no secret that I've had like a really difficult past. Lots of ups, lots of downs. I left wrestling for around 3 years, I would say. I completely cut off all the people, all the things related to wrestling. I didn't want to see a wrestling ring. And in this time, I found my identity in wrestling. So when I lost wrestling, it was like, who am I without this thing that's been my entire life the past however long, I guess now 11 years. But I had to kind of find out who Tessa is outside of the wrestling world. So in that time, I went back to college at University of Texas, San Antonio. I met a major in the United States Army who, talking with him and then talking with my brother, convinced me to join the ROTC program at University of Texas, and decided to kind of go after becoming an Army officer, joined our Ranger Challenge team. And I wanted to get into military intelligence and branch detail combat arms. And like, that was my full focus. And it was something that like I fit into perfectly because organization, delegating tasks, like that was perfect for me. And I remember a conversation that I had about 3 years into my training. My lieutenant colonel pulled me into his office and he was like, Tessa, it's time for you to sign this contract, you know. And I was top of my class for 3 years. And he was like, you're number one in the class and you're the only one in the class that hasn't signed your contract. What are we going to do? And I was like, sir, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think that I've been pushing this off to the last minute, trying to procrastinate because like in my mind, like finances, career, everything is set if I take this path in life. But in my heart, I still have wrestling. And like, I just feel like I have unfinished business in wrestling. And so it was a really difficult decision because I made some of like lifelong friends through that training. It's people I still talk to, but it was kind of a risk. It was like, how do I leave something that's so sure for something that's so uncertain and that I'm going to have to work so hard to rebuild? And I knew that I had to do it. So I decided to go back to wrestling when CMLL called me in to go out to Mexico, and I fell in love out there. Fell in love with the country, the culture, the people, Arena Mexico, and it solidified the fact, reassured me that, yeah, I still am great. I still can do this, and this is where I need to be in a ring. And TNA and I had talks like way back in January and Hard to Kill. And for me, it didn't seem like the right time to go back. I was happy in Mexico and I was like, I finally found my happiness again. And I know how much anxiety that I acquired over the past few years. It's hard to explain anxiety if you don't experience it. It's like a weight on your chest that you just can't get off. And for me personally, I kind of just shut down and close myself off and I can't really speak about it. But I was like, I'm happy in Mexico. These people don't judge me. These people don't think something about me. These people don't have any preconceived notions. And I can just wrestle and do what I love. And I was like, I don't want to give that up. So it didn't seem like the right time. I had talked to Scott and Gail at the time, and it didn't seem right. So we didn't do it. And then months and months later, looking at my life, I'm 29 years old right now. I'd always said in my head, like, I have a good solid number in my head of when I don't want to be a wrestler past. And one day I'd like to have a family. So putting all those things into perspective, prioritizing what I need to prioritize, I was like, you know what, maybe now's the time that I just need to jump in and see if there's something there, see if there is a chance to return and, not be the exact same Tessa that I was because I'm such a different woman now, but see if there's still success for me out there doing what I love. So speaking to Gail and then Ariel, it seemed like a good time to try it out, to return.
Yeah. And you look at what TNA is doing right now. And I mean, we just saw Masha on NXT. So, I mean, there's obviously a lot of people are talking about TNA. And, you've stated that you were a significant factor in the success of the Knockouts division. With TNA having that partnership with WWE, and wrestling being on fire, it's everywhere. How do you plan to continue influencing and also contributing to the women's division's growth?
I do say that I was a big part of it, but it's because TNA helped shape me as well. I don't think that I would be the Tessa Blanchard in the ring without the people in that locker room that I had the opportunity to work with. And a large part of that being the men's locker room. There's a lot of mixed feelings and whatnot about that intergender style. But I'm very grateful for it. I always say that, well, people had always told me, Tessa, you wrestle like a dude. Tessa, you wrestle like a man. And I didn't really know what that meant. But looking back at some of my matches and thinking on some of my training, I came up with George South and Cedric Alexander. Cedric and Alexander and I would be in the ring 6-7 days a week, training. After our 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. training, he would stay in the ring with me until 2 or 3 in the morning sometimes because I didn't want to be good. I wanted to be great. I didn't want to be passable. I wanted to be one of the best in the world. And I think that sometimes men in the ring, they have a different mindset or the way that they do things, and learning from a lot of those talents, such as Eddie Edwards, Sami Callihan, Fulton, Brian Cage, Rich Swann, the list goes on. Hell, getting to tag with Tommy Dreamer, Rhino, and RVD, like these were some big milestones in my career that I've gotten to learn from. And that way, when I went back over to the women's locker room, I was, I guess, more well-rounded. I always wanted to be as versatile as possible. So that way it didn't matter if I was in the ring with a Japanese wrestler, a Mexican wrestler, a UK strong style wrestler. I could go out there and I could conform and kill it. That was always a goal of mine, because your last name, it'll only get you so far. It doesn't go in the ring and take the bumps for you. It doesn't drive the miles for you. It doesn't pay the bills for you. And once you get in the ring, I think we've seen with a lot of generational talent, you're exposed. It's your training. It's what can you do? And as far as this partnership with NXT, with WWE, I think it's something that's huge, not only for TNA, not only for WWE, but for the entire wrestling business, because we're getting to see matchups. We're getting to see opportunities for wrestlers that have never been possible in the past. Jordynne Grace, for instance, she's done things that no woman has ever done, just like I've done things that no woman has ever done. As soon as I left Impact, Jordynne had this opportunity to just shine, and she has become one of the most powerful women's wrestlers, not only in the United States, but in the world. She's someone that everyone's talking about. That was a big motivator as well for me to go out there and make a statement using Jordynne and using her name. It's a big, it's a big thing for this Sunday going forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
So going forward, I want to help build the TNA name as possible, because they helped make me. They gave me a lot of opportunities. They shined me in a light that made history.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, again, we talked about it. Genesis Live this Sunday on pay-per-view. Go buy it. Watch it, because it's going to be a hell of a card, especially with this being the first live event for TNA this year. And, with the doors opening to just about anybody these days when it comes to wrestling, what are some talent you're looking forward to facing in a TNA ring and beyond?
I've been paying close attention, especially since I had on my mind to show up to TNA and take out Jordynne. She was one that I really wanted to get in the ring with again. We have a lot of history on the independent circuit and in Impact. But Jordynne is a different Jordynne now. I think anyone will agree. And so this is a matchup that almost seems like a first time, because I'm a different Tessa. She's a different Jordynne. So that was a big one. And then paying attention to a lot of the knockouts. I've paid attention to Jody Threat. I think that she's phenomenal in the ring. And with details, she pays close attention to details. She's someone that I would love to test myself against. Another one would be Savannah Evans, because she started training at High Spots maybe 8 months or so after me. So I think I was actually her first match in her entire career. We were in a fairgrounds in North Carolina.
Nice.
And so that would be a fun matchup. Just get those George South girls in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and if I hold the pencil over here, maybe we see Tessa and Kylan King when she comes back. I mean, that would be incredible.
That's one that I do want to get in the ring with her. I haven't seen her in a while, because I think that she's been out, but as soon as she returns, we've got a close mutual friend in Red Velvet, so I hear nothing but good things about her. But, let's see if she can get in the ring and go with Tessa Blanchard.
That'll be an insane match for sure. And of course, again, a big insane match this Sunday. Genesis, you've got Tessa, you got Jordynne. It's going to be the who is going to be the leader of the knockouts division. That's how we're calling it. After this match, we're going to find out who. I know time is precious with you, so before we let you go, is there anything that you want to say to people that are watching or listening to this right now as they wrap up this interview, as we wrap up and as they're done watching this?
Honestly, first of all, thank you to you guys, Battle. I'm honored to be here, honored to sit down and talk with you guys for a while. Thank you guys for supporting TNA and for the event this Sunday. As far as all the fans and whatnot, for all of you guys that support me, thank you. For all of you that don't support me, thank you. I'm on the mouths of every single one of you. I am tendencia, trending. And so, hey, Tessa Blanchard's back. The Diamond is back. The best in the world is back. La Peligrosa is back. And the greatest world champion of all time has returned.